It's your tour guide around the SWAC Wells.
How long the tour bus, so let's go. Wednesday and Sunday out when you can take the tour.
Hop on now, we starting out. Texas land, the Panthers shout. Tigers roar in deserts drought. What's that whisper? Ain't no doubt. Next to Boot got Jags to see. More tigers prowling, making others flee. Arkansas, a quick short spree. Golden Lions, they run free.
Hop on the tour bus, so let's go. Wednesday and Sunday out when you can take the tour.
We love the sip, so we raising cheers. Delta doubles, fueling fears. Braves and Tigers through the years. Echo loud in crowded spheres. Swing through Bama, hear them call. Hornets buzzing, stand up tall. Bulldogs barking in the hall. Feel the rhythm break or fall. Sunshine State, we ending last. Rattlers creeping, moving fast. Join the chorus, make it blast. Wildcats past and future, hold it fast. SWAC stories on the stage. Every chapter turning page.
All right, everybody, what's going on? How y'all doing? Welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk. Of course, this is a quiet storm version of SWAC Talk coming at you. And we're going to talk a little bit of SWAC basketball tournament action. I don't know where that came from, but we're gonna talk about the action that took place in the opening round, the pig games, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna talk about the games that took place today, men's and women's action. Two very different scenarios, two very different styles of games. And we'll talk about it all, but like I said, we're not gonna spend a lot of time. So y'all make sure y'all hit those socials. They're scrolling on the screen, and y'all make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and comment, and hit the notification bell. So let's go ahead and get into this, man. We want to run through these and not waste a lot of time. It's late. First off, before we even get started, man, I want to say the women's side of things, 10 teams was a good number because you had 3 teams that was 6-12 and the other one 7-11. So everybody was all bunched up. And, you know, it is only right that they play to get into the tournament. The men's side, eight would have been good because that was even though standings wise there wasn't a big gap between 8 and 9. That was a gap between 8 and 9. 8 beat 9 twice by double figures, and you know, number 10 should have, you know, a team that's won for his last 14 to close out the season should not be in anybody's tournament unless it's a situation where everybody gets to go. There's no reason for a 3-14 team to be battling it out for the final spot in the tournament. If you're gonna do that, then you just take everybody like they're doing next year. So on the men's side, this game was kind of an unnecessary thing. It made 2 teams who probably wouldn't be, obviously wouldn't be playing today, making them have to play an extra game before they get into the tournament. So everything worked itself out on the men's side. On the women's side, you had a couple upsets. So, you know, teams who, you know, if we took 8, then a team like Valley would not have gotten in. And even a team like Prairie View, who won their game today, wouldn't have gotten in. So I think on the women's side, 10 was great. 8 was great for the men. There's not 10 teams worthy of being in the tournament. So let's go ahead and jump on the women's action. We'll start off with that Prairie View game against Bethune-Cookman. And if you like offense or three-point shooting, really shooting of any kind, this game was not for you. I don't know if it was, you know, nerves, playing so early, or, you know, just 2 teams just really just could not put the ball in the basket. Prairie View found a way to win this game 57-52 in overtime. Bethune-Cookman was like 0 for, I think they were like 0 for 15 from 3 or something like that in regulation before Damani Dorsey made a 3-pointer basically to send the game into overtime. And from there, they hit a three early in overtime, um, but Prairie View was able to kind of withstand that and pull away and get a victory and I don't really want to call it upset, but for standings and seedings, it is upset. But these teams were only one game apart. But this was a game where neither team shot the ball well at all. There were long droughts. Bethune-Cookman scored single digits in first quarter, third quarter, and in overtime. So they had an extended drought in the fourth quarter. It was just a rough game. And so Prairie View was led by Nyam Thornton. She had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. She finished shooting 5 of 13 from the field, over 2 from three, and 6 of 8 from the line. Also in double figures for the Panthers were Amari Williams with 12. She was 3 of 6 from the field, 6 of 6 from the line. She had 3 rebounds on the night, and CJ Wilson had 10 points and 7 rebounds. Also 4 assists and 3 steals. So really good game for her. She was 2 of 8 from the field, 0 for 2 from three, and 6 of 8 from the line. Panthers finished shooting 36% from the field, 18 of 50. They were 1 for 14 from three, for 7%, and they were 20 of 26 from the free throw line for 76%. They finished with 36 rebounds, 8 assists, 8 steals, 1 block. They had 21 turnovers and 16 fouls. Bethune-Cookman was led by Azane Nicholson. She had 13 points and 17 rebounds, another double-double for her. She also had 1 assist, 6 steals, and 1 block. So really good game there. She was 5 of 12 from the field and 3 of 6 from the line. Also in double figures for the Wildcats was Kayla Clark. She had 11 points and 7 rebounds. She had 1 assist, 3 steals, and 1 block. She finished 4 of 8 from the field and 3 of 5 from the line. Wildcats shot 30% from the field, 21 of 68, and they were 2 of 19 from three for 10%. And like I said, those threes came in at the end of the regulation and almost at the beginning of the overtime. Other than that, they misfired extremely bad. They were 0 for 17 for the rest of overtime and in the first 38 minutes, 39 minutes of the game. So just not a good shooting night there. And they also were only 8 for 16 from the free throw line for 50%. They finished with 43 rebounds, so they did win the rebound battle. They had more assists with 10. They had 16 steals, so they really did a good job of forcing turnovers. They had 4 blocks, but they also turned the ball over 19 times. So this was a sloppy game. Also 22 fouls. And like I said, there's a multitude of factors that could go into it. It could be one of the situations where teams just kind of feeling the pressure and playing an early game and knowing, if you lose this game, you don't even really get to play in the tournament, so to speak. You're in it, but you're not in it, And I think both teams were really going hard in that aspect because they had a lot to prove. And Prairie View was able to withstand Bethune-Cookman, who had a very poor shooting night, and they really just, for whatever reason, they fell in love with the three, and it just was not going for them. And they always seem to be a step behind and just not able to overcome that, and ultimately it came up short. Our other play-in game, which was our 8-9 matchup, Valley continued their winning streak. They have won, I think, 4 games in a row now, and they beat FAMU 68-65 in a game that FAMU looked like they had it under control for long stretches, but Valley would never go away. And this game went into overtime, and Valley was able to score late and get the dub. So 2 very entertaining games, 2 overtime games, 2 very different types of games, but 2 teams that are advancing are your 9 and 10 seeds in the women's side. So Valley was led by Kamisha Prackett. She had 16 points on the night, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. She was 5 of 12 from the field and 6 of 7 from the line. Also in double figures for Valley was Jayla Reed. She had 18 points to lead the team. She was 6 of 16. She was 3 of 8 from three, 6 of 16 from the field, and 3 of 4 from the line. She had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Also in double figures was Deanna Maxey. She had 14 points, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. She was 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from three, and 4 of 5 from the line. Delta Devils finished shooting 29%, so not a good shooting night at all, but were able to just withstand and just make the plays that were there. They were 21 of 72 for the game for 29%, 7 of 20 from three for 35%, 19 of 24 from the line for 79%. They finished with 42 rebounds, 11 assists, 8 steals, 4 blocks, and they had 15 turnovers and 21 fouls. The Rattlers were led by Sage Glover with 22 points. She had 16 rebounds, big game for her. 1 assist, 2 blocks. She was 8 of 16 from the field and 6 of 10 from the line. Also, Sabu Gay with 16 points. She had 12 rebounds. So two players with double doubles in a losing effort. 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. She was 6 of 14 from the field, 0 for 1 from three, and 4 of 7 from the line. Also in double figures was Cheyenne McEvans with 11 points. She had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, and finished shooting 5 of 12 from the field, 1 of 3 from three. No free throw attempts. Rattlers shot 34% from the field, 23 of 67. They were 3 of 16 from three for 18%, and they were 16 of 23 from the line for 69%. They finished with 51 rebounds, so they won the rebounding battle by 9. They had 11 assists, 9 steals, 11 blocks, 20 turnovers, and 20 fouls. So this really was a game where, fam, you kind of dominated it, especially inside. But Valley is one of those teams right now that you don't even know how they're doing it. They're just finding ways to win games. And so that puts them into the quarterfinal round where they will play Southern tomorrow. I think it's at 4:30. And Prairie View will take on Texas Southern tomorrow at 11 or 10, one of those times. So we now have our full quarterfinals. And so these two teams have to turn around and play again tomorrow. And so we'll see if they can keep some of that magic going as they take on the top two seeds. Moving on to the men's side of things, these games were very different from the women's side and kind of indicative of the way these teams were all season. Like I said, even though Grambling and Alabama and them were pretty close in standing, I think these two teams were going in different directions. A&M closed out their season, losing, I think, their last three. I think they lost their last 3 games by double digits. Not counting this one. They just did not close out well. And Grambling, even though they don't have a good record, they've been playing competitive ball most of the season. It just didn't go their way for an early stretch. And so they were able to get a 73-56 victory over Alabama A&M. Bulldogs just never really could get into the game. They would get it within touching distance, but not enough to make any plays to get over the hump and get a win. Even though they the one thing they did well in this game was they shot the three really well, but they didn't do a lot else well in this game. They only had one double-digit score, and that was Quincy McGriff off the bench. He had 10 points, 3 of 5 from the field, 2 of 4 from three, and 2 of 2 from the line. He also had 1 rebound, 1 assist. Other than that, the starters didn't give him much. AC Bryant led the starting unit with 9 points. He was 3 of 8 from the field, 3 of 4 from three. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. Also, Dylan McLean had 8 points as a starter, 2 of 7 from the field, over 2 from three, and 4 of 4 from the line. He had 3 rebounds and 1 assist. Chad Moody led the team with 7 rebounds on the night. He also had 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. So just not a good effort from them here. And their season mercifully comes to a close. They finished the night shooting 17 of 51 from the field for 33%, 12 of 25 from three for 48%. So that's really what they did really well. Was those threes kept them in this game. If you don't make 12 threes in this game, you probably lose by 30. 10 or 13 from the field from the free throw line for 76%. They had 31 rebounds, 12 assists, 7 steals, 3 blocks, turned the ball over 14 times, and had 14 fouls. Gremlin was led by Contavious Dozier. Uh, he led the starting unit with 16 points. He was 6 of 11 from the field, 0 for 2 from three, 4 or 5 from the line. He had 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Mikael Stevenson led the team with 17 points. He was 7 of 9 from the field, 3 or 4 from three, and he had 2 rebounds on the night, 3 assists. Also in double figures was PJ Eason with 12 points. Um, he finished with 7 rebounds. He had 1 assist, 2 steals for the Tigers. And they had a pretty solid effort as a team. They were 28 of 57 from the field for 49%. They also shot the three well, hit 9 of 21 for 42%, and they were 8 of 11 from the line for 72%. They finished with 34 rebounds, so they won the rebounding battle by 3. They had 16 assists, so they won that battle as well. 11 steals, 3 blocks, and they only had 9 turnovers. So they really played a solid game, 15 fouls. And so they move on to face Southern at 1 p.m. This Central Time, 1 p.m. Tomorrow. And so that should be a very interesting game. It's a shame they had to go through this. I mean, they just beat this team by double digits the other day, and now you had to turn around and beat them again just to get into the actual tournament. But they are in the quarterfinals now, and now we'll see what kind of effort they put up. Next game we have is our 7-10 matchup. And this game actually was a tale of two halves. First half, Prairie View really jumped out on FAMU and actually led this game at the half by 9, 32-23. And one thing FAMU has done in recent weeks is come out of the break really fast. And so they really came out of the halftime break on a run, and they ate that lead up really quickly. And ultimately, they will pull away and get a 75-66 win. They actually led this game by like 15 or 16 points, but Prairie View was able to kind of chip away at it at the end. But again, this is another team in PV who I think, they only played 6. They only played 7 guys tonight. When you don't have a deep bench and you've been struggling all year, you don't really play clean. You don't, you're not a rebounding team by any means. You don't really have a lot of size. Having to play in a tournament, to play in a tournament, I think is just not a good look. This was probably a team that was just ready to get back and put the shorts up. So they did get a solid effort from Marcel Bryant. He finished with 19 points and 13 rebounds, 7 of 14 from the field, 0 for 2 from three, and 5 of 9 from the line. He also had 6 assists and 2 steals. So really good game for him. And also Tanaj Petway had 19 points. He was 7 of 18 from the field, 4 of 10 from three, and 1 of 2 from the line. He had 2 rebounds as well. Panthers finished shooting 42%, 23 of 54, 7 of 24 from the 3-point line for 29%, 13 of 23 from the line for 56%. They finished with 29 rebounds. They had 14 assists, 6 steals, 3 blocks, and 12 turnovers. They also had 15 fouls. The Rattlers were led by Milton Matthews with 23 points. They played this game without the player of the year, Sterling Young. So they still got a nice effort from Milton Matthews, 23 points for him, 8 of 18 from the field, 4 of 9 from three, 3 of 3 from the line. Also had 3 rebounds and 3 assists and 1 block. Also in double figures for the Rattlers was Caleb Washington with 12 points off the bench. He was 3 of 10 from the field, over 2 from 3, and 6 of 8 from the line. He had 11 rebounds, so he had a double-double off the bench, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Also in double figures were Shakir O'Neal with 11 points and 6 rebounds. He also had 2 assists and 1 block. He was 5 of 10 from the field, 1 of 4 from three. And Jordan Chapman had 11 points as well, and he had 7 rebounds. He finished 3 of 6 from the field, 3 of 6 from three, and 2 of 2 from the line. Rattler shot 45% from the field, 25 of 55. They were 9 of 26 from three for 34%, and 16 of 20 from the free throw line for 80%. They finished with 35 rebounds. They had 20 assists. Oh, that's a damn good game sharing the ball. I love that. I love that. I love high assist numbers. 3 steals, 4 blocks, 13 turnovers, and 20 fouls. Um, this was kind of a game that you kind of, this was a FAMU game. They made 9 threes, which is about the average. They had a really good game on the boards, but Prairie's not a team that has a lot of size. So, you should out rebound those guys. And they did a good job of not letting that early first half deficit get them down. I think a lot of times in games like this, when you fall behind like that, you kind of got a tendency to kind of pack it in because you just don't got it that night. But they did a good job of staying with it, staying the course and working through it. And those shots started to fall and they pulled away. So they take on Jackson State tomorrow night at 7:30. So they played a night game against Jackson State Grambling. Like I said, they face Southern in the afternoon game. And now we are in the quarterfinals. So we'll be back tomorrow to recap all the action that's taking place tomorrow. Just to recap what games take place tomorrow. Texas Southern women play Prairie View. That's a 2-10 matchup. Also on the women's side, Southern plays Valley. That's a 1-9 matchup. On the men's side, Southern plays Grambling. That's a 1-8 matchup. And Jackson State plays FAMU. That's a 2-7 matchup. So with that being said, man, I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawells. I'll be back tomorrow morning with my picks. So I have a short. Y'all check that out. And then tomorrow night, after all the games, I'll be back with another edition of the Quiet Storm and recap the first set of quarterfinal action on the men and women's side. So with that being said, man, I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawell signing out, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.